Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros, y feliz del Dia de los Muertos. And welcome back to Scallop Storytime, where we're going to continue our journey into Dreamtown, into the fan fiction published work of Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, because so many people think that Nightmare Before Christmas is a multi-holiday movie. I think this is appropriate. So, last time we learned that Sally's parents usurped the Sandman and wanted to kick him out forever, so they're gonna destroy the other portals. Apparently they're evil. I think that they are evil and that maybe the Sandman isn't evil, but we'll see. Chapter 14. You can't! I shout. We're no longer in the library. My parents sensed the fury rising inside me, the pitch of my voice climbing into my throat, and they quickly ushered me back to my childhood home, where others couldn't hear the grating edge in my voice, the anger and fear churning in my stomach. It's a sacrifice we must make, Greta, my mom, says softly, standing a few paces from me in the long sitting room, candles burning low, the air smelling of night jasmine, to keep the Sandman from returning to Dreamtown. Then we can finally tear down our wall. We won't have to guard the Dream Sand Factory, and we can go into the woods again, harvest our crops, all without fear. But you won't be fixing anything, I protest, feeling a well of tears gather against my soft cotton eyelids. Jack and all the others, everyone in the other holidays will still be asleep. My father blows out a breath and paces to the fireplace, resting a fabric hand against the wood mantel. We have to protect the dream sand, he said, lifting his eyes to me. We have to keep the Sandman from ever returning and refilling his pockets. But there must be some way of stopping him, I say, the desperation hanging on each word, my voice rising, teetering like it's about to splinter apart. My gaze flashes to my mother, hoping she will agree with me, that she will offer some solution other than destroying the grove of trees, the only doorway back to Halloween Town, and back to Jack. But she shakes her head, eyes rimmed with sadness and regret. I wish there was, but there's nothing we can do. There's no stopping him, only protecting what's left, our town, the dream sand, and those who are still awake. I'm sorry, Sally. I press my palms to my eyes, holding back the tears. We can't just cut ourselves off from the other worlds, I say, dropping my hands. We can't just leave them there, asleep. My mom is worrying her hands into knots, and I fear her seams might start to tug apart if she doesn't stop. There's no way to wake them. I'm sorry. Their dreams belong to the Sandman now. The throbbing at my temples is like a drum. I'm sorry, Sally, my father says, echoing Mom's words. I sink onto one of the soft, feathery couches and press my palms to my fabric knees. You opened a doorway into your world, Mom says now, and the Sandman fled. I'm sorry what's happened to your town, but you've also saved ours, rid us of the monster we've spent a century fearing. You saved us, Sally. She settles onto the couch beside me, her voice sinking low. So you see, we have to take this opportunity. We have to keep the Sandman from ever returning. My father drops his hand from the mantel and looks at me like a dad who knows he's breaking his daughter's heart. We don't have a choice, Sally, he agrees. The Sandman has left Dreamtown, and we have to keep him from coming back. We're going to say the same thing over and over again. A stiffness forms in my throat. This isn't how I thought it would go. When my parents first stood before me and told me who they were, I felt overcome, dizzy with disbelief, but also something else. I was certain that they would know how to defeat the Sandman, that we would return to Halloween Town together, save Jack, and I would finally know the happily ever after my own story. Tolling bells and kisses with Jack once he woke up. I didn't know it would actually mean crushed hope and growing fear and tears breaking against my cheeks. But Jack and the others, I can't leave them, I say, voice wavering, each word a blade. I know you care about them, my mother says now, patting my hand where it rests on my knee. Her touch like the petal of peonies, silken, tended to. A touch my skin remembers somehow. Hands that braided my hair into long, neat plaits down my back. Hands that wiped away tears when I tore through one of my seams on the spike of a garden fence. These memories are not clear and precise. They rest like gray clouds on a stormy day, only able to be seen partly before they evaporate. Halloween Town was never your home, she says gently, creeping closer to the truth. Dreamtown is your home. It always has been. My father nods, lifting his gaze from the fireplace. This is where you belong, my dear. You've been missing for so many years. My mother squeezes my hand like she's afraid to let go, afraid I'll slip from her grasp all over again. And we finally have you back. I know it's hard to lose the ones you care about in Halloween Town, but you are safe here. It will be difficult at first, but I think you can be happy in Dreamtown, among your own people, in a world where you are loved, where you truly belong. I was loved in Halloween Town, I counter, but even if I say it, I'm not entirely sure that's true. Jack loved me, of course, but the others? They hardly noticed me before I married Jack. And now, as queen, I am simply a title, a doll they must dress up and make into something new, shiny and suitable and worthy. Still, I know they are trying to help me understand. They want this place to feel like home. But my heart is breaking. I can't let Jack go. He's the only one I care about. My mother takes my face in her palms. We are your family. We have loved you long before you came here, long before you knew who you were. You are not an outsider in Dreamtown. You're home. This is your home. Her words rattle along every seam, a heavy knowing tiptoeing along my thoughts. Maybe she's right. Maybe I never should have lived a life in Halloween Town. It was the wrong life. And here, perhaps I am always who I was meant to be. Okay, God, I'm not really keen on Sally right now, just so you know. She's kind of being a bit of a brat. I feel dizzy, like my stuffing is spilling out of my seams, like I might faint. Nothing makes sense. I want to scream or cry or sink onto the floor and let myself unravel until I am nothing more than a pile of threads and used up fabric squares. Mom takes me by the hand and leads me down the hall to my old childhood room. You just need to rest for a while, she says softly, sensing the whirling panic inside me, the anger and fear, all of it too much. I want to resist, tell her that I won't sleep. I can't, but my head is blurred over with too many thoughts, and I crave the softness of the bed that used to be mine, the quietness of a house that has already begun to feel familiar, like a part of it was woven into my fabric flesh all these years. I just didn't know until now. I remember tiny hands along the walls, skipping in new ballerina shoes, laughing, diving into my bed and nesting under the blankets. It was a good life here, wasn't it? Until Dr. Finkelstein stole it from me. I can't abandon Jack, I protest again when we reach my room. But even I can hear the weakness in my voice, as if I am a little girl all over again, as if there's no strength left in my chest. My mother sighs, drawing into a tensely sewn line. Her mouth drawing into a tensely sewn line. In her face, I try to see myself. Her large teacup eyes and long spider-like lashes, the blue thread knitting her imperfect seams together. The more I watch her, the more I know I am a part of her, made of the same woven fabric. Just sleep for now, she says gently. When you wake, everything will feel better. I know she's right. My skin feels too tight, my thoughts darting back and forth like a bat trapped in a cavern. I need to rest. You'll wait to destroy the grove? I ask. She looks to the window across my bedroom, the dusky light making watery shapes through the curtain, then nods. I don't think she's telling the truth. I lie on the bed that used to be mine. The indentation in the mattress is much smaller than I am now, my feet reaching the end of the bed frame, but still, the sunken center of the mattress is comforting and safe, in a way that makes tears prick against my eyes. The girl who used to sleep in this bed is no longer the girl I am now. She was taken, given a room inside an observatory, told that she was built instead of born, lied to. I wonder if my parents were right, and this is where I belong. This house, this town. Although my head thumps with the need to rest, I stare up at the ceiling and the mural of stars and constellations. I can't imagine a life without Jack. But if my father is right, and there's no other option, no way to wake the others and no way to stop the Sandman, then maybe that life is dead, ripped away like cobwebs in a winter storm. Maybe they do need to destroy the grove of trees to keep what's left here safe. Jesus Christ! And maybe a life here in Dreamtown without Jack is better than no life at all. A sharp pain spikes through my chest, and I push myself up from the bed, walking to the window. The town is quiet, far fewer people strolling the sidewalk. Perhaps it's finally night, a time when the library closes its doors and everyone collectively rests for a few hours. I try to imagine a life here in this realm, who I'd be if I'd never left. Maybe I would have fallen in love with a boy who writes lullabies, who spends his days in the library scribbling down sonnets. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad, I say quietly to myself. But anyone I might have met in this other life, anyone who eyed me from across a stack of books, or held my hand, or plucked yellow daffodils from the community garden and left them on my windowsill for me to find in the morning, wouldn't be Jack. They wouldn't be that tall hunk of bones. My heart would never love them in the same deep, dizzying way. They would never be enough. A coldness rises in my throat, that wretched, marrow-deep feeling when you lose the last of your hope, when the dark twists around your spine and leaves nothing else. Even if I went back to Halloween Town, there's nothing left, only shadows. No witch sisters or vampire brothers, no ghosts or wolfman or mummy boy. They might as well be dead. Corpses left to rot in their nightmares. This life, here in Dreamtown, might be all that's left. Oh my God. So circular. This is such circular narration, just over and over, the same thing again and again. I touch the empty jar resting on the windowsill, the place where Mom and I once kept all my angers and sads. I wonder if the jar is big enough to hold the mountain of hurt tucked inside me now, or if the glass would shatter if I tried. I don't have time for such childish things. I place the jar back on the sill, fingers trembling, then feel myself sink down to the bedroom floor, tears pushing against my eyelids, making prisms of my vision. I press my palms into my eyes and let myself sob. I allow the sorrow to bury me in its miserable, unbearable weight. I choke on it. I die on it. I feel myself lying on the floor of my bedroom and wish I wasn't there at all. I wish I had never fled Halloween Town and gone into the woods, tearing off my pumpkin queen dress and crow feather crown. I wish I had never found the door into Dreamtown. I wish I could have stayed with Jack, let the sisters pin their fabric onto my flesh and insist I wear the highest of heels. I would have felt trapped by it all, but not nearly as bone-breakingly awful as I do now. I wish I could undo everything. Because this is the final page of my story, the last chapter. I don't think, if this is the final page of my story, the last chapter, I don't think I could bear it. My eyes blink open, stinging from the salty tears, and I peer across the floor of my bedroom to where a stack of books has been placed under the bed frame. They aren't hidden, just shoved underneath the bed skirt as though they were in the afterthought. I imagine my younger self, tasked with cleaning my bedroom, hastily pushing them out of sight. On my hands and knees, I crawl to the bed and pull out the books. There are other things under the bed, too. A knitted doll wearing a crimson dress, the bow in her hair coated with dust, a wooden set of jacks, a fiber jump rope coming undone, and several spools of thread in varying shades of blue. Cerulean blue like the sea, sapphire blue like a shimmering stone, a teal blue like the sky after a summer storm. But it's the books that hold my attention. I sink back onto the floor, wiping the tears from my cheeks. The titles are all unfamiliar. Most of the spine's broken, bent wide from too much reading. They are books that have been read and reread, worn down, fingerprint smudges and corners folded. There are books on dream making for insomniacs, sheep counting 101, encyclopedias on the methods of sleep, theories about daydreams and naps and sleepwalkers. I pull out a recipe book titled Sleep Tonics, filled with recipes for golden milk and warm butterscotch cocoa. There is a book on how to choose the correct pillow firmness for side sleepers and back sleepers and roly-poly tummy sleepers, and a DIY book on constructing your own mattress made of recycled fibers and sheep's wool. And lastly, there is the book titled The Basis of Slumber, Dreamtown Edition. This book has been read more than all of the others, nearly every page dog-eared, whole paragraphs underlined. It's a manual, a base guidebook for residents of Dreamtown. I skimmed through the chapters on the mineral elements of dream sand, the importance of moonlight during sleep, how to keep children from having bad dreams, and finally, how to lull even the most restless humans into slumber, those who prefer drinking coffee after 8 p.m. and staring at humming, flickering screens in bed. But my eyes linger on the final sentence of the book, where words cycling over and over in my head. Everyone, everywhere, can achieve sleep. Some just need to be shown how. I lift my gaze to the window, the evening moonlight glinting against the curtain. Maybe I've been thinking about this all wrong, I say out loud. Maybe there is a way to save Jack and all the others, a way I haven't thought of until now, a way that now seems so obvious, so clear, it's been there all along, the knowledge already inside me. I push myself up from the floor, still holding the book in my hands, tears drying at the corner of my eyes, adrenaline pulsing through me. I have to find my parents. But when I rush to the bedroom door, try to turn the cold silver doorknob, it doesn't move. I try again. I wiggle the knob. I press my shoulder against the door, but it won't open. The door is locked. I knew it. They're evil. They're totally evil. Chapter 15. Let me out! I yell, my soft fists bang against the wood door, helpless, useless. Help! I shriek, but there are no footsteps down the hall, no rising voices coming to save me. The house feels like empty, gone silent as a tomb, quiet as a cellar. I rush to the window and yank open the curtains wider. At first, everything looks as it did moments ago, but then I see them. My parents have left the house, my father's hand on the small of my mother's back, and they're walking down the front steps and out into the street, their robes cinched tight around them to keep out the chill. And in the dim twilight, I notice several other residents leaving their homes as well, gathering with my parents in the street, huddled at first, speaking low, before nodding together in some agreement. All at once, I realize what's happening. I know where they're going. I slap my palm against the window. I shout through the glass, but they don't turn. They can't hear me. They're too far away, already moving up the street to the faint, watery twilight, toward the gate at the far end of town. I drop my hand, knowing, and the knowing is a sharp stab of betrayal into the center of my already broken heart. They're going to the grove of trees. They're going to destroy the doorways. They lied when they said they'd wait. 'Cause they're bad guys. Keep your thoughts in your head where they belong, Dr. Finkelstein used to tell me. He wanted a daughter who kept quiet, who did what she was told, silent and obedient. But I have never been those things, and I refuse to be that now. I run back to the door, yanking on the knob, hoping it'll budge free, but it doesn't give, even an inch. Trap, 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 my mind repeats, the walls sinking in around me. My parents have locked me in my childhood bedroom, just like Dr. Finkelstein used to do, and now they're going to destroy the trees, my only way home, back to Jack and Zero and everyone I know. They knew I'd try to stop them, so they tricked me. They lied. I press my ear to the door, listening. Maybe Edwin, the butler, is still in the house. I pound against the sturdy wood door, calling out to him, but he doesn't come. Even if he can hear me, he's probably been instructed not to let me out. I hurry back to the window and try to slide it up its frame, but it's stuck, rusted into place after too many years spent closed. All the years I was away, when no one lived in this room, never letting in the quiet evening air. Tears break over my eyelids, dampening my cotton cheeks and clouding my vision. A deep, churning fear swirls in my gut, leaves twisting themselves together like they're caught in a windstorm. I have to find a way out of here. I press my forehead to the glass, panic like a fist in my throat. but through the blur of tears I see the outline of someone approaching the front of the house. The boy. The one who brought me to the note when I was slumped outside the library. The boy who led me here to the governor's house. I slam my palm against the window, yelling through the glass to get his attention, but he's already letting himself through the front door. I run back to the bedroom door and shout against the wood. I beat my cotton fist so hard my stitches start to tear. "Help!" I yell. "Let me out!" I think I can just make out the tread of soft slippers on the wood floor, and then, seconds later, I hear his small voice. "Hello?" The boy is standing on the other side of the door. "Please," I say, "please, unlock the door." My face is pressed flat to the door, intent, listening, when suddenly it swings open and I tumble out into the hallway. "How'd you get stuck in there?" the boy asks. How'd you get stuck in there? The boy asks, his words slurring against the gap in his front teeth, hair mussed like he's just woken up from a nap. "They locked me in," I say, the breath heavy in my chest, glancing back at the open bedroom doorway. The boy's eyebrows screw together like he doesn't understand what I mean, and I straighten myself up and step back into the bedroom, retrieving the book I found under the bed and tucking it under my arm. "Why are you here?" Why are you here?" I ask the boy, stepping back into the hall and striding toward the front door. He pulls on his bottom lip as he quickens his step to keep pace with me. "I ran errands for the governors, and I came here to tell them that the poets are asking for more candles in the library, and to, He scrapes a hand along his neck. "There's a rumor going around that you're their daughter, the one that vanished all those moons ago." His eyes find mine. "Is it true?" I exhale through my nostrils, clenching at the back of my jaw. "Yes," I tell him as we reach the front doorway. "But I'm not staying." The boy follows me out through the front door. A listless evening breeze coils around me. The air quiet and calm. "Why not?" he asks, still standing in the doorway. "Because I am the queen of Halloween Town," I answer, glancing back at him as I descend the stone steps to the street. "And I'm going back home." All right. Finally a turnaround. I sprint through the town all the way to the gated wall, past the tall fields of lavender, and into the lulling, softly shadowed woods. "Wait!" I shout before I even reach the grove of 7 trees, hoping it's not too late, hoping they will hear my frantic pleas echoing through the woods. My lungs are gusting with air, eyes flashing through the dark, until at last I just make out the silhouette of several people gathered inside the grove, some holding candles, illuminating the dim forest, while others are wielding axes, swinging them wide before driving the blades against the hard wood with a loud crack that echoes through the far-reaching forest. The sound is like a knife in my ears. The leaves in my chest rattle with each inhale as I climb the hill towards the grove. The lost needles in my stomach jab and poke. "Please, please, please," my head screams. But half a second later, I hear the loud crash, the sound of a tree hitting the ground and splintering apart, the vibrations shaking the path beneath me. "No, no, no! Please stop!" I yell. "Please!" I sprint up the last rise, reaching the edge of the grove, and at last see the full width of the trees in the trembling candlelight. I'm too late. Minutes too late. Moments too late. A whole lifetime too late. The grove is gone. Gone! Every tree has been severed at its base, chopped clean through, and now all 7 trees lie on their sides, toppled over like soldiers slain on a battlefield. "No!" I run to the tree with the golden pumpkin carved into its bark and drop to my knees, clawing at the door, heaving it open. But when I peer inside, I find only the empty darkness of an ordinary hollowed-out tree. Oh, God! Pale, soft wood and a small beetle skittering away from the candlelight. No threshold that will take me back to Jack. No doorway, no passage to another realm. It's gone. A hand touches my shoulder, but I jerk away from it. Mom is standing over me. "You said you'd wait," I snarl up at her through the knotted pain in my chest. My father steps forward, his seamed mouth turned down at the corners. "We're sorry, Sally. We had to do it. Look, we just had to do it." "No," I reply. I want to push myself up, but my legs feel too weak. all of the strength I felt when I fled my room now gone. You could have waited. You could have told me the truth instead of locking me in my room. My mother exhales, tugging on the sleeve of her robe, mouth sunk flat. We didn't want you to leave us again, she admits, eyes trembling like she might cry, like me she might, too, collapse beside me. We couldn't bear it if you decided to go back. My eyes flash to her. So you destroyed the trees, my only way back home, trapping me here? Each word feels like cracked glass, shredding me open, snapping each thread one by one. Without letting me decide for myself? The seams tighten across my mother's forehead, and I can see the panic in her eyes, the fear of losing me again. It was wrong of us, she says so softly, the voice nearly drowned in her throat. But we had to make sure the Sandman couldn't come back. We wouldn't waste any more time. Couldn't waste any more time. I pushed myself up from the fallen tree, skin trembling, every part of me feeling cut through. They lied to me, hurt me, took away everything. I have lost Jack for good, and I want to scream, the hurt bulging behind my eyes. I want to tell him that I hate them, that I'll never forgive them. But all the fury sits planted in the back of at the back of my teeth, aching, a vile, wretched feeling. Instead, I hold out the book for Mom to see. I found a way to stop the Sandman, I say bluntly, coldness rooted in my eyes. My father squints over my mother's shoulder, while the others in the group raise their candles towards the book, curious. How? My father asks, stitched eyebrows pulled together. When I found Jack and the others asleep, I tried to make a potion that would wake them up. My voice is so thin it feels like paper, but it didn't work. I stare at the faces of my parents, wanting them to see the anger in my eyes, to know what they've done. But I made the wrong potion for the wrong purpose. I swallow, waiting for some hint of recognition in their eyes, but their features remain slack, motionless. What purpose? Mom asks. My eyes slide to the book in my hands, The Basis of Slumber, Dreamtown edition. While flipping through its pages, I realized that I had been thinking about the Sandman all wrong. I tried to make a potion to awaken those the Sandman had put to sleep, but I needed to think about it like a rag doll, one who was born and raised in Dreamtown, one who would have spent her nights in the library, studying the fundamentals of sleep. A girl who would have read this book over and over until she knew it by heart. I didn't need a potion to wake everyone up, I say, breathing, glancing to the fallen trees. I needed a potion to put the Sandman to sleep. There is a long pause, a long silent pause, wind shushing through the trees, candles blowing lights across the ground, until finally my father speaks. But dream sand doesn't work on the Sandman. We can't put him to sleep. I shake my head. I wouldn't use dream sand. My voice is still deep, cutting, because I know it's too late now anyway. I would have made it using the herbs that I grew in Halloween Town. They're stronger than anything you have here, more toxic. They can raise the dead and put them to sleep, too. But how would you know how to make such a thing? My father asks. I lifted my eyes to him. I've made many dangerous sleeping potions before. But I don't tell him about the noxious soups I used to make for Dr. Finkelstein. All the mornings I would slip poison into his frog's breath tea, knocking him unconscious long enough so I could escape the lab and go in search of Jack. This hurt expands inside me like rotting flesh, and I'd do anything to go back there now, to see Jack again. My mother takes the book from me and runs her palm across the cover. You think you can put the Sandman to sleep? She raises an eyebrow. I don't know if putting the Sandman to sleep will wake the others. I don't know if it will break the deep slumber he cast them into. But at least it would stop him. I have to try. But my father interjects before I can say anything. The trees are destroyed. There's no way to get her back to her world, even if she wanted to. My mother ignores him, keeping her eyes on me. Sally, if you can reach your town, do you think you'd be able to stop the Sandman? I swallow and I push my shoulders back. I would try. My mother glances back at my father. Something silent passes between them. The human world, my mother says at last. You can reach Halloween Town by going through the human world. I feel my dark pupils narrow on her. Wait, okay. The stirring in my stomach falls still. I've never been to the human world, the place Jack visits every autumn on Halloween night, slipping through graveyards and cemeteries and mausoleums. It's how he moves back and forth between our realm and the mortal one. But I haven't seen a single cemetery in Dreamtown, not even a single headstone. How do you get to the human world? I ask. My mother lowers the book, meeting my gaze. We'll show you. Well, that was quick. The Lullaby Library is quiet, and after hours kind of quiet. No one curled on love seats writing riddles. Everyone's gone home for the night, to rest their eyes and minds. Yet we walk in silence down the center of the library, my mind still burning at the thought of what they did, destroying the trees, trying to trap me here for good. It feels as deceitful as Dr. Finkelstein locking me in my room, making me a prisoner. You are a treacherous, willful girl, he would say. But is it willfulness to want freedom, to choose my own way, to risk everything to save the ones you love? My parents lead me up a set of metal spiral stairs, and at the second floor, we climb up another spiral stairway, then another, until we've perched on the third floor, the highest part of the library. We move along the walkway beside tall, endless stacks of books, but the titles are unreadable in the dim light, only a few candles still burning on the shelves to light our way. Finally, at the back of the library, we come to a door made of dark cherry wood, with an ornate spiral of nighttime stars etched into the front, and darkened as if the wood had been burnt by a flame. This is our way into the human world, Mom whispers, speaking softly even though there was no one else inside the library. But if you leave, she adds, we will still... She swallows, a heavy darkness in her eyes, then pricks at the thread on her wrist. We have to make sure the Sandman doesn't return. We have to destroy this doorway, too. Close off any chance of him getting back. Well, then how the hell are you gonna do your sleep jobs, you dimwits? I breathe, and the library seems to expand, walls stretching outward, while my thoughts close in around me. But if you destroy this door, you'll be closed off from everything, I say. Your dreams, Sand, all the lullabies. You won't be able to help anyone fall asleep anymore. We don't have a choice, my father says, repeating his words from the grove. Oh my God, these people are insane. I draw in a deep, steady breath, and in their eyes I can see how desperately they don't want me to leave, how they do anything, almost anything to me, to keep me here, to make me stay, even lie. But I can't stay. I'll sacrifice everything, even this town that was once my home, if it means I might be able to save Jack, see him again, feel his hands against my linen skin. I'm returning to my world, knowing I'll likely never see my parents again. Well, screw them, they're evil. And your priorities are something. Tears form in my father's eyes, his mouth trembling. I know Dreamtown might be where I belong, I say, wanting my parents to understand why I have to see this through, why there's no turning back now. But it will never feel like home without Jack. I have to try and save him. All of them. Even though they have lied to me, hurt me, my heart still feels like it's breaking all over again. I don't want to leave my parents behind. Not now that I've finally found them. He would do the same for me, I say, my voice cracking on the words, mouth trembling. My mom tugs me into her arms, wet tears and fabric skim made of the same linen and thread. A patchwork of pattern that makes us the same, and I let myself cry. For so long we never knew what happened to you, she whispers against my neck. We worried every day, but finding you now, I realize you are braver than I ever imagined you might be. Her words rupture into a sob, then she takes a rabid breath. I don't want to lose you again, but I know you need to fight to save the ones you love, and there's nothing more worthy than that. Thank you, Mom. I say the word out loud for the first time. Tears shedding down my face in rivers now. My father folds his arms around us both, and I feel a flicker of doubt. Small, imperceptible, but they were just the same, stabbing at me. But they're just the same, stabbing at me. Am I wrong to leave? Oh my God, make up your goddamn mind. I finally found my family, and now I'm leaving it to go back to a place I might not be able to save. Even if I can't make a potion strong enough to put the Sandman to sleep, if I can't stop him, if I can't wake the others, then what? I'll be trapped in Halloween Town all alone, with no way to return to Dreamtown where it's safe. Well, I will spend the rest of my life hiding from the Sandman. But this brief, thumbnail-sized thought is quickly replaced by a larger one, the one that overtakes all others. I was born to Dreamtown, but I am also the Pumpkin Queen. I will fight for Jack. I will fight to set things right. I pull myself away from my parents' arms, then step forward and open the wood doorway. A strange world, a strange cold hiss wrapping itself around me, the interior dark and shadowed, no light at all. When you step inside, my mother instructs from behind me, you will be taken to a library in the human world. Which library? Whichever one you want, my father says behind me. Think of a town or a place as you step over the threshold, and the doorway will open up into a library there. My head pounds as the names of towns, cities, locations in the human world skip through my mind, all over the place. All of the places Jack has described visiting on Halloween night. But how will I choose one? Just one. Just pick one that's next to a cemetery. I'll have to find a cemetery, I tell them. That's how I'll try to get back. I'll get back to Halloween Town. Try to think of a smaller town then, Mom offers, so you won't have to search as far. I nod and take a deep breath, looking back at my parents, both still crying, arms folded around one another. I found them, but now I'm leaving them behind, and I'll never see them again after this moment, this last goodbye. The burden of what I'm about to do feels almost unbearable, but I hold open the door and suck in a breath. I smile at my parents one last time, wanting to say something, one last thing, but I can't find the right words. Good enough words. My head and heart are a treacherous mess, both wanting different things, both colliding inside me and making it impossible to speak. So I don't. I love them, somehow. These two people who I've just met, fabric scraps and long red hair, we are the same, but I have to let them go. I peer into the dark doorway, knowing that once I've passed through the other side, my parents will destroy this door, break it apart, maybe even burn it until there's only ash, until there's no magic left inside. I close my eyes, count 3, then step through the doorway. All right. My prediction is that, they can't just not have people sleep, because you die if you don't sleep. So my prediction is that Sally is just gonna, become the queen of dreams, too. She's gonna learn she's got the books, so she's gonna, learn how to make people fall asleep, and then she'll be like Jack, but, with sleep. Either that or her parents are lying again and they won't actually destroy the doorway. But whatever. We'll see what happens next. Thanks for tuning in. Have a nice eating. Happy Day of the Dead. Ciao, Bellas.